March 30th, 1987 edition of the Ryder Report, featuring anchor Rich Tonelli.
Good evening. I'm Rich Tonelli, and this is the Ryder Report. President Reagan lobbied over the weekend to sustain his veto of an $88 billion highway and mass transit bill that would also allow states to raise the federal speed limit to 65 miles per hour. Mr. Reagan said that the bill was too expensive and that his political prestige was at stake. The president also promised to sign a less costly version of the bill as quickly as possible, should his veto be upheld. But Democrats argued that it would take months to produce a new bill. Senate Democratic leader Robert C. Byrd called Mr. Reagan's promise a gimmick. He also said that the president was putting his political problems ahead of the country's economic interests. The highway bill is the first major clash between the White House and Capitol Hill since the Iran-Contra affair. Reagan supporters argue that the president needs to prevail on this issue to aid his political recovery. Do we want a strong or weak president in the upcoming months? This is the question being asked by lawmakers in Washington. And now, here's Chris Clark with the entertainment news.
Thanks, Rich. Okay, there was some startling news today from the music world. The Grateful Dead, a long-loved band that has enjoyed entertaining generations of people, has just announced that they will extend their concert stay in Philadelphia with 4 more shows. After these added shows, they are set to disband without completing their tour. The extra shows have been added to compensate for the amount of people who have been showing up at each concert without tickets. The group's manager said that the extra shows should accommodate any fan within a 100-mile radius of Philadelphia. But today's announcement of the group's breakup came as a shock to fans and those in the music industry. As one person said, quote, "Nobody thought they would ever break up. Die maybe, but not break up." The group was not available for comment, but issued a statement saying, quote, "We are not going to say why we're doing it. We don't even know, really. It's just going to happen eventually, so why not now?" Sources close to the band have said that Jerry Garcia has just, quote, "fallen in love with Front Street drag racing and may possibly be changing career tracks." No one would comment on the possibility of a midlife crisis for Garcia. One source did say that, quote, "After Jerry saw Mannequin, he just couldn't stay away from Wanamaker's." We'll have more details on the story on the 11 o'clock report. In news a little closer to home, Howard Jones tickets went on sale today. And field reporter Maria Weissglass has braved the crowd to bring us the story. Maria?
Hi, this is Maria Weissglass for Ryder Report, reporting live today, Monday, March 30th from Ryder College, where the Howard Jones tickets for the Howard Jones show that will be on April 30th here at Ryder College in the Alumni Gym goes for sale right now. And here we have some really patient people that have been sleeping outdoors and been sleeping and waiting to buy these tickets, and I would like to say something to them. Hi, what's your name?
I'm Biff.
Hi, Biff. Did you just buy a ticket?
Yeah, well, I was waiting in line here, but I think I overslept a little bit. I heard they were going to sell out, so I came early.
Okay, so what do you think about Howard Jones?
I think he's great. I haven't seen him in concert, and I don't know a whole lot of his stuff, but what I know is excellent.
Hi, what's your name?
Susan Davis.
Susan, why do you want to see Howard Jones in concert?
I like him a lot.
You like him? What's special with him?
His music, I like his songs. He's positive, I just like his themes.
Hey, this is Maria Weissglass reporting live from Ryder College Student Center, where the tickets for the Howard Jones concert on April 30th just went on sale. Thank you, and now back to the studio, and Chris, thank you, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Maria. And for, well, another story, maybe our final news in the world of entertainment, Vanna White, what's she going to do next? It seems that America's most loved TV game show hostess has peeled off those sequins and let the public see just what she can turn over. The May issue of Playboy will feature a 10-page spread of The Wheel of Fortune Darling. White is reportedly suing Playboy founder Hugh Hefner for reneging on a promise not to print. Playboy says that White proudly showed Hefner the photos and spoke with him about becoming a bunny, as well as requesting the publication of the photos be delayed to coincide with the release of her autobiography, Vanna Speaks. Now it's for the courts to decide the legal problem. Those who want to decide about Vanna can just simply purchase the May issue of Playboy.
Thanks, Chris. That's, I have to honestly say, boy, I would love to turn Vanna over.
Thanks, Rich. And there was some really sad news today. Besides the Grateful Dead breakup, the Rolling Stones have decided to call it quits.
True legend lost.
Two legends lost. Sad.
Now we have a special investigative report from our own Matt Krivak.
Yes, that's right, Rich. For Rider Report, I'm Matthew Krivak out here in front of Centennial Lake. And there was a rare bird sighted in Florida. The bird is the Key West quail dove. And here at Rider College, I'm standing out in Centennial Lake, and the bird has been spotted here. The rare bird is called the Key West quail dove and has been spotted first on Boot Key, Florida. The bird's visit may have been a brief one. Bird watchers say yesterday that they had been unable to find the reddish-brown quail dove again since the first two sightings, March 22nd and Tuesday on Boot Key, a small island off the east coast of Marathon, Florida, in the Middle Keys. But the bird has been sighted here at Rider College. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, the penguin-sized birds, which have a leaf green crown and a distinctive white stripe across their face, now live primarily in the West Indies, apparently because hunters have killed them off in the Keys. Reporting live out on Centennial Lake for the Rider Report, I'm Matthew Krivak.
Thanks, Matt. And now here's Sue Romero with the weather.
Thank you, Rich. Well, today the temperature high was in the 60s, which is a little warm for this time of year. And with spring fever in the air, we decided to ask a few college students returning from spring break how they felt about the warm weather. And here is Haley Jo Menduke reporting from Rider College.
It's Haley Jo Menduke reporting from outside the beautiful Rider College on a beautiful day. Fort Lauderdale, Bahamas, Daytona, Mexico. Spring break. It's a great excuse for students to use up all their money, drink in excess, and get a great tan. But is it all fun and games? We're here at Rider today to interview a few students and ask them what they did on spring break and how was the weather and did they have a good time?
And I'm from Lincoln B, and for this spring break I went to Fort Lauderdale. I had a pretty good time, you know, but it rained most of the week. And but you know, I partied my brains out. I did stuff like enter the belly flop contest. I didn't win though.
I went to Nassau, Bahamas. It was gorgeous there. It was sunny, the water was warm, we laid out, we got tan, we had drinks on the beach, we met these gorgeous guys, we hanged out, we had so much fun, and we partied so much.
On spring break, I went down to Hampton, Virginia for the Dead concerts, and we stayed on the bay, Newport News, across from the Naval Yard. It's really nice weather, we had a good time, and that's about it.
Yeah. What did we do on spring break? We went to Kitzbühel, Austria for 6 days, and we went to Munich for a day. The weather was about 50 degrees each day. Went up a Honeycomb downhill run. Went to Pass Turn, Kirchberg. Went to the Londoner pub every day, and Rob will take over from there.
Well, the weather was sort of like this. If you wanted to ski, you could ski with your shirt off. And if you want to take your shirt off afterwards, you could do that too. Some of us got a little muddy. There were some wet slopes up there. There were some nice slopes, some powder slopes. And we found the best bar in the world.
Best bar in the world. Norwegians, Swedes, Aussies, Brits, Scots.
And this is Haley Menduke reporting from Rider College, March 30th.
Now we'll take a look at the extended forecast. On Tuesday, we start out with sunshine in the morning. In the afternoon, though, clouds begin to move in with a 25% chance of precipitation. The temperature, though, remains in the mid-60s. Moving into Wednesday, it will be mostly cloudy with a 50% chance of precipitation. We also see a drop in temperatures on Wednesday with the highs being in the 50s. As we look to Thursday, it's time to take out your rain gear, folks. Thursday will definitely be a wet one, with showers beginning in the morning. The temperature will remain in the 50s, with showers ending in the late afternoon. Into Thursday night, we will begin to see considerable clearing. And for Friday, folks, we're back to warm, beautiful weather, with temperatures reaching the 70s. We can all look forward to clear and sunny skies on Friday. Friday will also be a good day to get out and start working on those tans. Well, Rich, it looks as though if we make it through midweek, we're going to have a wonderful weekend in store, so it'll be a good time to get out those golf clubs and enjoy the spring weather.
That sounds good. I'm just dying to get golfing. In the main event of WrestleMania 3, Hulk Hogan retained his World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship by defeating the 500-pound Andre the Giant. Hogan body slammed the Giant and then pinned him. The loss was the Giant's first in his 9-year career. 90,000 people witnessed the wrestling event of the year. This was the largest crowd ever to see a live wrestling match. Ken, I suppose there might be a few people down in New Orleans see a little basketball.
Yeah, maybe a few. Yeah, just a couple. 65,000 will witness it live, millions on television, as tonight in New Orleans at the Superdome, college basketball will crown a new national champion. It's Indiana versus Syracuse. Now, while many people are disappointed with this final, expecting a UNLV North Carolina final, I'm here to tell you this game's going to be a classic, and there's a few reasons. One, the two best conferences are going head-to-head, the Big East and the Big Ten. Two excellent, experienced coaches, the Orange men's Jim Boeheim, and of course, the Hoosiers' Bobby Knight, who is vying to become only the third coach in the history of college basketball to win more than 2 national championships. And third, and most important, these teams match up terrific. Both have strong starting lineups in which each player averages in double figures, and both teams rarely go to their benches, so foul difficulty will be an important part of this game. Now for a prediction, I think Indiana goes as Steve Alford goes. If you remember, the only time the Hoosiers slumped is when Alford went into a mild shooting slump prior to the tournament. Alford's been hot, 33 points in the semifinal game. I like Indiana to win the game, but don't go out and put all your money on Indiana. 4 points is a lot of points to give up in this annual barn burner. I like the Orangemen plus the points, but in the office pool, I like Indiana. Speaking of classics, the Sixers and Celtics met yesterday at the Garden, and it was Julius Erving's last trip to Boston. In a pregame ceremony, the Celtics presented Julius with a piece of the famed parquet floor, and the Doc responded by leading the Sixers with 26 points, but it was not enough, as Danny Ainge scored 30 points, and the Celtics placed 7 men in double figures and destroyed the 76ers 118-100. In other NBA scores, it was Portland 135, San Antonio 113, Chicago 115, New York 96. Dallas edged Cleveland 101-98, and Detroit got by Seattle 108-107. Rider head baseball coach Sonny Patero had to be concerned. His Broncs were coming back from a Carolina trip that saw them drop their last 8 contests. Their team ERA was over 13. The pitching staff was walking close to 8 men a game. And the all-important East Coast Conference began yesterday at home for the Broncs versus Lehigh. What Patero needed was one player to stand up and take charge, and he got just that in Game 1. Senior co-captain Ron Crosswood tossed a shutout and did not walk a single batter. The Broncs won the first game 2-0 and continued the hot streak as they blew out Lehigh in game number 2, 16-1. Game 2 saw 4 sophomores come to the forefront. Pitcher Mike Deutsch throwing a complete game, allowing only 2 hits and punching out 6. Ed Horowitz, with a rare start, cracked 2 home runs and knocked in 5 runs. And Kenny Kramer and Chet Cottington continued to hit the ball well. Kramer homering and Cottington going 3 for 3. Our own Joe Zadarecki caught up with the victorious Broncs, and especially senior co-captain Ron Crosswood.
Riders' baseball team has been hit by graduation and players turning pro, and the pitching staff appeared decimated. That's when they had to turn to senior Ron Crosswood. Crosswood yesterday pitched a shutout. What do you expect? Do you think this game is indicative of the way your pitching is going to be for the season, or what?
Well, let me tell you. We have a lot of. I'm the only senior pitcher here. We have we have 2 other sophomore pitchers, and the rest are all freshmen. So it's just pretty much a matter of getting some experience, and just a matter of getting their feet wet in college baseball.
Okay, Ron. What do you expect from the team this year? Are you going to be as competitive as you were last year?
I think down the road after a few games, I think we're going to be as competitive, maybe if not better than last year. We only had a 27-23 record last year. I think this year we're capable of winning at least 25 games. I think we're going to be tough down the road. It's just a matter of, we went on a spring trip. A lot of teams were ahead of us by 10 or 12 games. I think it was just a matter of we were outmatched a little bit too early.
The Rider Report. I'm Joe Zadarecki, reporting live from Daly Field, home of the Broncs.
Well, Kim, what do you think about Rider? Can they win it this year? They're they're awfully young. They've had the experience from the past years, but this year it seems like they're
It's a young
rebuilding.
team. It is a young team. Of course, the Bronx lost their two aces, their two pitching standouts for the past 3 years, Jack Armstrong, who went to Oklahoma, and Steve Parascan, who was drafted by the Detroit Tigers. I think it's a young team, but I think pitching is important. I think offensively they're extremely strong, and even though they're young, it doesn't matter. I think on the mound, it is important. I think the young pitchers showed in the Carolinas against some of the finer teams in the country that if they got a little rattled, they were in trouble. I think if they gain experience, as Patero hopes, by having them play against some of the better teams in the country now, that for the East Coast Conference games, they'll settle down, they'll throw nice games, and let the offense take care of itself.
Patero always seems to get him ready for the tournament. They're
He
always
does.
there.
He plays for the tournament. There are some coaches that believe your non-league games should be played against weaker teams to fatten up your record. So come the end of the year, you have a gorgeous record. Sonny doesn't care about that. He says, let's play the best possible teams we can, and come tournament time, we'll win the tournament. And he's done it the last 3 years.
I like that. I like that idea. All right, for Ken Bike, Sue Romero, Chris Clark, and the entire Rider Report team, I'm Rich Tonelli. Tune in at 11 for late news on the Rider Report.